Cryptocurrency regulation is passing. It's officially over. This window of opportunity is closing more and more. When I mean it's over, I mean we don't have any doubt for this altcoin season that's going to be happening from now towards the end of the year. There's no doubt it's over. To me, it's solidified. We have a certification stamp. Bam! And you need to pay attention to what is going on. So in this video, I'm going to break down my projections because it's not just about regulation and bills passing. There's another mechanism that Trump is using via executive order, which nobody's talking about, which is probably more significant than the stablecoin regulation. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Alex, and I used to be a drunk, robbing, gambling, selling drugs guy, thief that was a delinquent. I had academic probation in high school, almost didn't graduate, and I really did get my wealth out of the mud. No college degree, no certifications, just grit, grind, and crypto. I've been through 3 different cycles, made millions of dollars, lost millions of dollars. In this case right here, this was last cycle. I made millions, had a warehouse, 40 plus employees. I had to let them all go because I was idolizing money. Here's a picture of me buying 3 yachts back to back, thinking I was the greatest gift to this world because I was idolizing money and I thought that yachts, cars, and women were the meaning of life. And I didn't realize that really I was prideful and I purchased these yachts at the exact top of the market. So I made this channel right here that you guys are watching as a way to start a crypto movement the right way. And by the grace of God of losing millions of dollars, losing all of these employees, and really just getting wrecked in crypto over and over again, I'm able to make millions of dollars now sustainably, have a good relationship with God, good relationship with my family. I don't neglect my children, and I'm not fiending over the next 100x altcoin. We do it with stability. And I'm at a point where I officially launched a hedge fund on a professional level where we manage millions of dollars, and this is the fruit of a relationship with God. And so what we're going to talk about today is a peaceful way of doing crypto. Not a crazy, weird way of doing, gosh, man, this internet is crazy, and it blows my mind how many of you are like heroin addicts for crypto. Please, this is not a next hit of your drug. This is just simply news updating you, and we should look at it as so. So the Genius Act just passed. There was 3 bills that we were waiting for in Crypto Week. Okay, Crypto Week is coming to an end, and we actually have the Genius Act being passed to the point where we're just waiting for Trump's signature to actually sign off on the bill. So this is the first United States stablecoin regulation, and we're going to talk about that in this video. And we're talking about a $250 billion stablecoin market that is happening right now. We have never seen this before in crypto. It's real. It's really real, okay? But we have to have realistic expectations behind it as well, okay? So the signature is actually expected within days. Another thing that nobody's talking about for some reason is an executive order for crypto 401ks. We're talking about a massive market. I think it's like $9 trillion of potential energy. 1% of that is billions of dollars that could fly into cryptocurrency as we speak, and we're going to talk about realistic timelines of all of these things as well. We also have the Clarity Act that's potentially going through, right? We're waiting for, that to be passed through the Senate. We're also looking for the Anti-CBDC Act, which is really important to focus on as well. And so in general, we have all of these bills. And what's really exciting me is the fact that the Genius Act is passed, and it's obviously going to be much easier for the other bills to be passed as well. So this video is going to give you realistic timelines, expectations. It's not going to be hype. I'm going to look at the facts of the situation so that you can make your own investment decision based off of what's going on and available information. As of today's date, July 18th, I believe this is probably the most realistic timeline we could have when it comes to the actual bills being passed. So we have the Clarity Act that's in the Senate. We have the Anti-CBDC Act that's in the Senate as well, but we're waiting the signature approval for the Genius Act. As you can see right here, you can see it very clearly. And here's the realistic expectations of when it's actually going to be passed. Now, when it's passed, hear me out. For it to actually be rolled out, there's also a timeline as well. And we're going to talk about some of that in this video. But the point is that just chill, bro. Just chill, relax. Okay. But this could be also, listen to what I'm saying, maybe write it down on a piece of paper. Listen, this could be a buy the rumor situation we are experiencing right now in crypto, right now, like today. Today's July 18th. This is a buy the rumor situation, I officially believe. Let me show you why. Oh, and by the way, what I mean by buy the rumor is there's this common saying where it's like buy the rumor, sell the news. It's a common saying in all trading. You want to buy the rumor, get in before everybody else, and then sell the news. So just for the newer people, I'm just trying to explain to you that I first want to explain a concept called parabolic versus linear. So in crypto, this is kind of a thing. You should pay attention to it. It goes parabolic a lot. So we see growth curves, and you can see this the opposite way. It can actually go like this as well. Parabolic growth in Bitcoin's price and altcoins price. And if you look at the math behind it, basically, just to give you a baby understanding of it, it's like this over super hype growth. It's kind of like going viral. It's like a viral type of vibe because it is a world currency and because these coins are internet things. They're like internet. I always explain it. They're less like stocks. They're more like collectibles combined with like a social media post. So coins going viral are very similar to a viral post. And so we see this upward growth or whatever the case is. So this is linear growth. This is parabolic growth. Now, when I show you what I'm about to show you, it's going to freak you out a little bit. This right here is two charts overlaid on each other. I want you to understand, and I'm going to take my time with this so you guys really comprehend it. This is the Bitcoin dominance chart. That's Bitcoin dominance. This is Bitcoin's dominance over the market. Now, see, the thing is if I take this horizontal line and I put it right here, this was Bitcoin's previous all-time high right there. We broke past all-time high, and we have a concept called, price discovery. It's no man's land. We don't know how high Bitcoin can go because there's no price structure before it. So in terms of technical analysis, this is crazy, really crazy. And at the same time, we've had the Bitcoin dominance drop in the past 2 or 3 years a couple of times. As you can see right here, look at this drop. Look at that drop. Look at that drop. These are convincing drops. The only difference between the one that we experienced here and what we're currently experiencing is I want you to see how it's kind of doing this parabolic, obviously the opposite, right, going down. But look at the curvature of that. That to me shows a sign of, hey, bro, the altcoins are going to really rip. Because when we're looking at Bitcoin's dominance, right, this is Bitcoin's dominance, when Bitcoin dominance drops, like this, look, it's dropping. That means that altcoins are gaining dominance over the market, but it's not just like the normal drop. This is why it's convincing. I know I see a lot of people on the internet talking about percentages. I do not believe technical analysis. Listen, and there's all different types of technical analysis, but I do not believe doing this support and resistance with percentages on Bitcoin dominance is relevant at all. Why? Because the amount of altcoins that are being created increases exponentially. So the dominance, it's not perfect ratios. So percentages are not going to be, I don't think they have relevance. I could prove it. I don't want to prove it in the video, but I really don't. After studying altcoins for so long, like I just don't believe in using technical analysis, support and resistance on this Bitcoin dominance chart. But what I do think is important is this curvature, which is technically technical analysis, but the curvature just really shows me this drop is definitely different. It's definitely different, okay? And at the same time, we have Bitcoin breaking all-time high. For a fact, just this Bitcoin dominance drop is different. It's 100 million% different. It's different. It's different. And this is what I mean by the title when I said it's over. Me questioning altcoin season, it's over. It's time. I'm going to get very aggressive deploying capital. And I know a lot of people have been asking me, if you guys go to the pinned comment or you go to the link in my bio, any of my social media, go to the link in the bio. If you're watching on YouTube, in the pinned comment, I'm giving out the database of coins I've already researched, bro. In the group, you go into the free group, free database of every coin I've researched. So like, bro, I have been waiting for this moment for 2 years. I have been researching altcoins for 9 months. We created this database 9 months ago. We created 4 different variations of the database. I got everybody in my community to all research through one framework. That framework has been updated like 4 different times. The database has been changed like 4 different times. And we've crafted this kind of final version. And I've completed it. And I'm giving it to you for $1 a month. I would make it free, but crypto has scammers. So I don't want no free people in this group. $1 a month will like weed out a lot of scammers. Right? So go to the link. It's in the description. Like people are in the comments like, where's the link? Bro, it's in my bio. Go to my profile, go to the bio, click the link, bro, because it's over. Altcoin season's here. We're going to be talking about regulation, and I'm going to back this up with a lot of evidence, but like it's time. It's time, without a doubt, without a question. Nobody's going to convince me otherwise. It's time. It is time. It is time. Listen, find the link, find the database. I'm not gonna, bro, I don't have time to sit here and edit the link into my video. Like, go find it, click it, go. Free group, no strings attached, 7-day free trial, and then $1 every single month after that. If that freaks you out, then be freaked out. That's fine. You won't get access. But yeah, let's get into the actual regulation. What's going on behind like all the smoke and mirrors. Let's look at realistic timelines and how this all lines up with this altcoin season I keep talking about. So history has been officially made. This was yesterday actually. And basically we have the stablecoin regulation we were waiting for getting passed. Now there's a couple of things we could talk about. It's basically a federal law that sets strict rules for issuing payment stablecoins in the United States. So stablecoins are a big thing. You're huge. They're very important. Probably one of the most important elements of crypto for a fact, because Bitcoin and Ethereum go up in price and down in price, but I can get all the same properties of Bitcoin and Ethereum by holding a stable coin, right? It's stable. A lot of investors are freaked out with the volatility, so this brings a lot of stability to the market. All right, now just to go through it, they basically have something called only approved permitted payment stablecoin issuers, licensed non-bank issuers, federal or state approved, regulated banks or credit unions. There's a requirement where they have to keep a 1-to-1 reserve backing, but they could keep it, this is a key point, they can keep it in T-bills, which are treasury bills, which is government debt, which is very interesting because that could be a lot more liquidity being directed into the United States system. What do I mean by that? So a T-bill, it's basically government debt. From a baby explanation, we're gonna go into this in more detail. So let's say hypothetically, I give USDC $1,000, right? That $1,000, I have it in USDC and crypto, but USDC has the actual cash and they're allowed to take that and they can actually buy T-bills, which is like they're injecting liquidity into our system, which is really interesting. Now, there's obviously compliance rules like KYC, know your customer, things like that, and different oversights, but obviously that's really boring. Let's go into the implications of that, what it actually is. If you want to read into it for yourself, I recommend, and I always recommend, everybody get up to date with reality. Download ChatGPT. If you don't, if like you need to like do a couple jumping jacks right now to wake up. If you have not downloaded ChatGPT or use it, I have completely replaced Google with ChatGPT. I talk to ChatGPT more than most humans, bro. And I know it sounds weird for some people. It's called technophobia. Don't be scared of technology. It has enhanced my life. You can take the PDF, you can Google search the PDF of the stablecoin regulation, put it into ChatGPT and ask it questions to truly comprehend it instead of reading like 260 something pages. You could do that, right? And so let's talk about some weird hidden stuff. So some hidden stuff that nobody really talking about. So catch this. The US government is creating a permissioned stablecoin monopoly without calling it that. So the Genius Act doesn't just regulate stablecoins. It bans all unapproved issuers after a 3-year phased out kind of period and makes it illegal to even offer stablecoins from foreign issuers unless they meet US standards and are registered domestically. So basically the point is if they don't like you, they can essentially deny your stablecoin issuance. And according to some standards, and this is not definitive fact, but according to their standards, USDT will likely be denied. And again, nobody knows this for sure, but let me break down what I'm saying. So effectively outlaws decentralized stablecoins, completely shuts down algorithmic or crypto native models unless they submit to bank level regulation. This could also be for DAI. Not 100% sure about that, but this could be for every stablecoin. The only one that we know is probably guaranteed is USDC. USDC is pretty much guaranteed. And if we look at Section 3A, it should be unlawful for any person other than a permitted payment stablecoin issuer to issue a payment stablecoin in the United States. Such tokens lose legal standing as cash equivalents, collateral, or settlement assets. So we're talking about DAI, FRAX, LUSD, algorithmic stablecoins. All of these will have to try to submit to the standard in the United States. Look, foreign stablecoins like USDT. Now, this is pretty significant because USDT, a lot of people claim it propelled all of crypto, like since the beginning of crypto. Since Ethereum came out and USDT came out, it's propelled. The amount of liquidity that's gone through USDT has been insane. People say that, a lot of drug money was laundered through USDT. And I'm not going to go into the specifics of the history, but there's been some radical claims that say that basically USDT ended the market last cycle, and it also started the bull market. And the amount of liquidity behind that is crazy. It's actually technically bigger than USDC right now. So if they regulate that out of existence, obviously there's going to be a 3-year period. They're not going to just shut the stablecoin down. But if they regulate it out of existence, we could see something like USDC being market made. USDC could be the winner. They're forcing, we've seen this throughout history. If you study financial history, they basically force their winners. Let me turn off this time block here. They force their winners. They basically make people win. And so if they're making USDC win, you got to look at the entities involved with USDC. So if you've been following me and I've been saying certain things, right? Like, so for example, the XRP narrative, with that taking over the world and things like that, it's like, okay, but they just passed a regulation for stable coins. And see, the thing is, they're market making USDC. And USDC, we know, is colluding with Coinbase. There's only 2 public American companies in the world when it comes to crypto native stuff. And that's Circle, the creator of USDC, and Coinbase, which Coinbase basically created USDC. If you look at the Bitcoin spot ETFs and Ethereum spot ETFs, all of the money is being held on Coinbase. Bro, put 2 and 2 together. I like XRP. I like XLM. Sure, like they have their own lane. But bro, are you catching what I'm saying? This whole narrative and this whole hype, I think you need to take that, put that thing in specifically the base layer 2. Because base, guess what, is a layer 2 with no coin created by who? You guessed it, Coinbase. Coinbase is taking over. They're market making Coinbase, USDC, and the layer 2 base. They're market making them through regulation through the United States, which is the most important because of what? The Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve runs the world financially. There is no other country that's even close. The Federal Reserve runs the world financially. Financially, it runs the world. So if we have the Federal Reserve in America creating USD, right? USD, not euros. They're creating USD. They control the mechanism of USD. We see people working from the Federal Reserve colluding with Coinbase, even working for Coinbase. And we see USD, like this is the entity. That's the structure you need to focus on. Please listen to what I'm saying because they're market making it. It's not fair. It's not equal like competition. They're market making it. They're making it happen. They're forcing it into subjection. And if you don't comply, we're going to regulate you out of existence. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. So this is a structural gate to centralize the flow of digital dollars, wrapping them in all of these regulations and basically saying, if you don't follow my standards, you're done. So USDT, right? If you can see right here, section 3A, it should be unlawful for any person other than a permitted payment stablecoin issuer. Tether is not a U.S. domiciled, not federally or state approved, and not regulated by any U.S. banking agency. That makes them an unauthorized user, according to this bill. Now, can they change? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. Can they shift? Yes, I would say that there is a chance that that can happen. But as of right now, it looks like USDC is the only big dog. That's the big dog. Foreign stable coins must register and hold U.S. reserves. U.S. platforms can't offer foreign issued stablecoins unless the issuer has a technological capacity to comply and will comply with any lawful order. Foreign issuers must register with the U.S. Comptroller and agree on ongoing monitoring, providing reserve transparency and hold reserves in U.S. banks unless exempted. So they can market make this. They're going to force people to hold it in U.S. banks. And not only that, but they're probably going to force the stablecoin issuers to buy back government debt. So you put 2 and 2 together. The United States has the best market in the world because of the world reserve currency. They're trying to secure their world reserve currency status by only allowing these stablecoin, issuers to do stuff with America, basically is what I'm getting right here. So failure to register equals ban from exchanges. Unregistered stablecoins lose status as cash equivalents, legal margin collateral, settlement tools. They'll basically regulate it out of the industry. right? They become legally unusable for US trading platforms, institutions, cross-border settlements. And see, the thing is, what you got to catch is that USDC has already been, or USDT has already been banned from exchanges in the past. This is nothing new. We've already seen this happen. So it could happen more and more and more, and it'll be rough for that. So yeah, so Coinbase, Kraken, and all US-based platforms will be forced to delist USDT. And bro, if you've been in crypto for a while, this is really crazy. It's really, really, really crazy. So a lot of things are going to be happening in crypto. You need to focus and pay attention on these bills, guys. Focus. So here is realistic timelines. The sun is peeking out over there. Sorry, guys, for the lighting. But here's realistic timelines, okay, as you can see here, on what's actually probably going to happen with the Genius Act. So it's probably going to get passed very soon when it comes to Trump actually signing off on it. So we expect maybe within the next week he'll actually sign off on it. And then for it to actually have, some type of regulatory framework, right? They're making rules behind it and things like that. It'll probably be like August, September. And then by July 2026, this is when it's actually going to happen. So when I was making a claim, right, I was being very clear. And I said that this is a buy the rumor situation. For it to actually play out, it's going to be a while. So we're probably thinking December 2026, late 2025, early 2026, best case scenario, right? So these things are very much buy the rumor type of stuff. We're very early. We're years ahead of people that just get into crypto. We're years ahead. Now, for the enforcement kicks for USDT, we're thinking 2027, 2028. So don't freak out. Again, this is why context is important. I try to provide as much context as I can. I'm not going to be perfect with everything, but I really do try to provide context because these things are important and they do warrant aggressive, hey, listen, we need to focus. But the timelines are also important. We need to understand by what time period. So USDT thing, maybe 2027, 2028, this is so far out. We don't even know if this is fact. This could be a situation where USDT changes or they do some type of deal. I don't know. But yeah, just take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt that we don't know 4 or 5 years ahead into the future. We're just making projections and understanding what's going on right now. But all projections change, and so does understanding. Once new information comes out, it all changes. So stay up to date. Now, this is what I'm really excited about. So there's rumor, this is not fact. This is rumor that we could have an executive order, but the type of credibility behind the rumor is insane, I have to admit. But there's rumor that an executive order can unlock $9 trillion because basically we can potentially invest our 401ks into crypto. And Trump could be putting in an executive order. I just want to make two very clear claims. Again, buy the rumor type of verbiage, type of talking, buy the rumor. Why? Number one, it's a rumor, it's not fact. And number two, when it comes to an executive orders are not law and they can be overruled. So executive orders, Trump signed a whole bunch of executive orders and they got overruled. So it can go into law, something happens, and then somebody's mad and overrules it. I don't know the exact process, but executive orders are not law. They're not law. So let's go into the actual rumors of exactly what happened because we have to understand where this credibility is coming from. So on July 16th, 2025, Fox Business basically said Trump is preparing an executive order to allow crypto, gold, and private equity in 401ks. Then July 17th, we have Financial Times confirming this news. And again, we're talking about $9 trillion worth of retirement money. And then on July 18th, we have other news outlets like Barron's and stuff like that, basically saying the executive order is imminent. So it could happen during crypto week. It could happen this week. It could happen very soon. And again, it's rumor, but the, outlook of what could happen to the market is insane. Let me show you. As you can see right here, when it comes to total retirement assets, we're looking at $9 trillion. 401ks are 6 to 7 trillion. We're talking about trillions of dollars, guys. It's a lot. So let's say hypothetically we get a 1% allocation to crypto. We're talking about $270 billion, which if you understand market flows, when it comes to the spot ETF and things like this is actually very significant for crypto. And that's only 1% allocation. I would assume that's probably going to be more than 1%. because everybody's going to want to get access to this. And it's going to be like crazy mayhem time. Like when we go into altcoin cycle and hype cycle, everybody knows about crypto. Like it becomes very mainstream. I've seen it many times. And so people are going to want to allocate a lot of money if this does pass. Now, when the actual timeline happens is another story, right? Let's look into it. So if the order, let's say hypothetically, gets signed soon, right? And everything plays out, we're looking at like 2026, which again, super interesting, mid 2026, end of 2026, early 2027. The reason why I say that, and this is aggressive, modest, and conservative. The reason why I say that's really interesting is because I've been developing a theory. It's not fact. There's a theory basically of what I'm saying is like, hey, maybe we get like a extended cycle. Like maybe the altcoin cycle doesn't die like it always does, because they pretty much always die and all altcoins go down like 90%. Maybe we get an extended cycle. And everything I've been showing you guys lines up to like the end of the year, according to our cycle theory, and you could, reference previous videos. It's way too much information for this video. But according to kind of like, if you weigh out how much time it usually takes for us to see a top, the top should be towards the end of this year. According to projections, the top of the market should be towards the end of this year. But everything I'm seeing really shows that they're trying to extend it. And I think the reason why I really believe, and again, this is theory, not fact. I really believe they're doing it on purpose. I think they know this information. They know the market should end around here because of the Bitcoin halving. They know that the Bitcoin halving has a massive foothold on crypto. Right now, it's like the biggest foothold I've seen. There's only like two big footholds I've seen. It's the Bitcoin halving and Vitalik Buterin. Vitalik Buterin is the creator of Ethereum. Like there's signs that when he sold Shiba Inu last cycle in Ethereum, it was the exact top of the market, ended the market. It ended the altcoin cycle. It was Vitalik Buterin himself ended the market altcoin cycle, which is the creator of Ethereum. There's only two extremely significant, and there's other significant ones too, but I'm talking about the extreme category of significance when it comes to the cycles of the market. One is the Bitcoin halving, and number two is Vitalik Buterin, from what I've seen. And I'm not, this is also verified by way smarter and richer people than me. So the Bitcoin halving, it has a foothold on crypto. And we could see a situation where we see regulation passing, and the timing of all these events are really just, it really seems like they're trying to extend it. There's kind of another theory I want to throw on the table for you guys, which is like, it's called the tipping point. The tipping point is the point of no return, where everybody just starts adopting crypto. And right now, I think it's not exact stats, but I believe it's like 1 to 3% of the global population's adopted crypto. During the bull market, that can get maybe up to 5 to 10%. During like the hype cycle at the top of the bull market, it's like 5 to 10%. So the tipping point is basically a theory where it's like, okay, everybody adopts crypto all at once. Like it goes from like 5% to like 40, 50% in a very quick period of time. And so if I was the president, or if I was somebody with a lot of control over the monetary system, the goal is to break that control of Bitcoin halving. You want to break that. Why do you want to break that? Because it's a cycle that's controlled by a mechanism you don't control. So the Bitcoin halving is basically, it moves in 4-year cycles roughly, based off of a mechanism built into Bitcoin. It's basically, if you really understand it, it's Federal Reserve policy built into Bitcoin automatically. So it's an automatic mechanism that drops the issuance of the amount of Bitcoin that comes out of the system. So for example, like every 15 minutes, there's a block reward. A reward is rewarded to miners, and they cut it in half. That's issuance. It's not inflation. People don't know the difference. That's issuance. They're issuing a certain amount of Bitcoin. It gets cut in half roughly every 4 years. This is a mechanism that's outside of the control of the elite, of the Federal Reserve and the people that control the monetary system. It's a mechanism that's outside of their control. They don't control that mechanism. They can't say if the mechanism is here or here, meaning if they don't control it, they don't know how to make money off of it. Or they do know how to make money, but they make a lot less money. So if I was super powerful and I wanted to continue through my power, I would try to kill that mechanism, or not kill it, but at least create a bigger mechanism through extending the Bitcoin halving and this whole cycle. That's what I would do. Does it happen this cycle? No one knows. But what I would say is a lot of the regulation that's getting put into place, the timelines of them and the timelines of everything just really, really seem like 2026, 2027. And by history, the market should be ending at the end of 2025. So if at the end of 2025, it's ending, according to history with the Bitcoin halving and all this regulation, everything's lining up, mid 2026, beginning of 2026, and then all of the utility of it, all of the demand mechanisms where people actually start buying in because it actually works now, like it actually working is like mid 2026, like it actually working is mid 2026. Like, think about that. That's crazy. So like where you could actually invest your 401k, end of 2026, mid 2026. So like they're trying to get all this new liquidity to flow in at the exact time the market should be ending. And that is like a lot of theory, but take it with a grain of salt. No one knows for sure, but like understand what I'm saying. So let's get into just brief explanations because these are important too. And then I want to give my final thoughts on how this could all affect the market towards the end of the video. But briefly, if we look at some explanations here, the Genius Act, the Stablecoin Regulation, we could see late 2026, July 2026, that those time periods for it to actually go into play where, it's actually happening, right? We know that. We went over it. Basically, the whole video was about this. Now, they have other things like the Clarity Act. I've talked about this as well, which is insane, and I think it's probably more insane in the context of altcoins. It's insane, guys. It's insane. That's a buy the rumor type of situation as well. And from that could require a whole video, like for sure. But basically, the gist behind it is they're going to regulate altcoins. So that means they're going to make a whole bunch of winning altcoins and crush a whole bunch of altcoins that don't follow their standard and delist them and all that stuff. The same thing that we've been talking about. And then we also have the Anti-CBDC Surveillance Act, which bans the Federal Reserve from issuing a retail CBDC or using digital currencies. And the thing about this, which is crazy, is I believe this is smoke and mirrors. I believe they're only passing this because, and I'm going to go into theory, you'll see what I'm saying. They're only passing this to give the people confidence that the Federal Reserve is not going to control, because they know that the Federal Reserve is a big element in people's minds. Everybody knows the cat's out of the bag when it comes to the Federal Reserve. Everyone knows that they're essentially controlling money. But what people don't know is that the banks collude with the Federal Reserve, businesses collude with the Federal Reserve. And so they're given the power to basically banks. And we're going to go into that some more for sure. And we'll talk about what that means. I know there's a lot of stuff here. I know if you guys are new, I think you should continue to watch these videos. Not because I want to get views, but because what you could do is you could take the transcript. It's called YouTubetranscript.com or something. Google it, YouTube transcript. And you could actually take the transcript, put it into ChatGPT, and then go through it slowly. So yeah, this video might be like 30, 40 minutes. You can go through it in 3-4 hours and it's basically a whole digital course, right? So let's talk about some kind of running theories that I have. Again, I just want to be clear. These are theories and not facts. This is not financial advice. It's not established facts. It's just discernment. And as more information comes across my table, I'll be able to update you guys on my theories, right? The whole point is you have to make a prediction. You have to make some type of projection so you can make an investment decision. And this is why I've been going so heavy on Coinbase and USDC, because it really just looks like, first point, USDC is being market made as the stablecoin of the world. So the Genius Act is going to favor US regulated stablecoins. The only one that's US regulated is USDC right now. Now, something that's really interesting is that USDC has made a lot of friends. They take their money, because what happens is, if you give, and I say this over and over again, you guys have to understand this. If you give USDC 100 grand, they're going to take the 100 grand and invest it wherever they want and then give you a stablecoin version of it. So you have effectively duplicated the 100 grand to 200 grand. And 100 grand goes into crypto through USDC, and the other 100 grand goes into vast majority of the money. If you look at their public holdings, because they actually tell you where they put the money, they put it into US government debt. So it's like injecting liquidity into both aspects, crypto and US government, right? So that's insane because they've made a lot of friends. I think they're in the top 20 bracket for people in the world that buys government debt. Just think about that, right? So that's obviously really, really important, right? And so it's really interesting that 401k investors are now allowed to invest that money into USDC. That's billions of capital that could flow into Circle's ecosystem, which is AKA billions of capital that could flow into government debt. So it's like super weird, but it's like there's these weird mechanisms where it's like debt is paying back government debt. And I'll explain what I'm saying by that. Because the banks are now the primary stablecoin issuers, or they could become the primary stablecoin issuers, which kind of not kills, but XRP and XLM's narrative is like it holds less truth when I see this. When we see this, it just, what's the point, bro? The bank it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna use XRP to send transactions, but it's like they do have uniqueness to it. There are mechanisms with XRP and XLM that are different from a stablecoin. I like 100% agree with that. Like, for example, you can send USDC and they will receive it in euro. That's something XRP does that they don't do. But it's like, think about it. Banks could just make their own stablecoin, man. They don't need to. They can save all of the money, like all this payment remittances. Like the reason why they don't upgrade some of these financial systems is because they're making so much money. They're making billions of dollars for the inefficiencies. There's inefficiencies, they make billions of dollars, right? So banks can become stablecoin issuers through the Genius Act. And so it's this really weird mechanism. Listen to what I'm saying, where there could be a situation, it could be, no one knows for sure. And this is the theory I've been talking about. It's really, really interesting, where the bank issues a loan to a person of business. And they could also issue the loan, for example, to a business that they're invested in or they're really, really buddy with, right? And then that business could actually put the money into a stablecoin. The borrower can use the money to buy USDC so they can use DeFi, right? For example, or whatever, get yield or whatever they want to do, right? They could put it into a stablecoin. But see, the thing is, USDC can now go and use that money to buy back government debt. So if you understand how banks operate, when they loan out money, they're essentially, it's coming from not exactly, but it's coming from the Federal Reserve, right? So it's like you issue government debt to give out a loan, but then that same loan can be used to put in a stable coin, and then the stable coin's buying back government debt. So it's like debt to buy back government debt. And it's like another duplication of money. So it's like this quantitative easing or this duplication of money, right? That everybody gets affected by. It's like a new form of inflation. The bank just created new money via debt and buys back government debt. They don't buy it back themselves, but they can collude with people that they know for a fact are buying it back. USDC is buying like the 70% of the reserves buys back government debt. So this is this new weird monetary recycling that we've never seen before. It's a new like quantitative easing, really, really crazy. It creates a loop where private debt issuance injects liquidity into public debt markets. It's like a shadow quantitative easing. And so now it will be done legally under this new stablecoin structure. And if you understand what's something called game theory, what happens is, yeah, they're going to take this to a really far extent. Like these guys, knowing that they have this crazy mechanism, are going to push it hard. And what it could happen is a lot of money could flow into crypto. And all of that money can be, to these coins and things like that. This could be like the new, like, transfer into crypto, like for institutions and stuff like that. And that's really crazy because it could be used to buy back government debt. So it's like, weird stuff. I don't think anyone can really formulate and pull this together, but I think it's good to talk about and keep an open mind about because it is the future of our monetary system. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. If you want to be up to date on this crazy, I really think it's crazy. I talk to my community all the time and I'm like, bro, there's probably less than 5,000 people on this earth that understand what we're saying right now. So yeah, you're a part of those people and you probably should understand it. If you don't understand it 10 out of 10, if it's still kind of gray area in your head, I think you should take your time, put it into ChatGPT and figure it out for sure. Because this is our financial system. And if you're pivoted in the right place, you can take advantage over this massive gold rush. Like this really is a gold rush. The people that are pivoted right are going to make the most money. And so the best explanation I can give of pivoted right is base layer 2, bro. Find coins on base layer 2. And we obviously have a really good system that we actually give away to you guys for free, by the way. And Coinbase Genesis. In Coinbase Genesis, you get my entire research system, bro. Like we do not hold out anymore. I also just recently gave a buy call. Oh, you guys, oh man. Yeah, my screen kind of froze here. Let me show you a picture. But basically I gave a buy call in Coinbase Genesis. And if you go to the classroom, you could see that I even have the blueprint. I'm going to give you guys screenshots. That's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.